The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Boom. I'm here. Let's do this, okay? On this Super Bowl Sunday. I'll talk about sports, man. They really matter this time around. February 11th, and if you're watching this, I feel as if your sports quota is all the way up and it can't get enough. Just the truth, man. Your Canucks, they don't crumble. They don't lose 3 straight again. And they squeak by the Washington Capitals. Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Super Bowl. We'll talk about Nils Hoglander being a better goal scorer than Alex Ovechkin. What? What's going on? What a season. Let's do this.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. More importantly, you are tuned in here on the Locked On Network, courtesy of a lot of hardworking people. Real talk, okay? They got that culture, right? They call it your team every day. I call it your Canucks every day. And like I said, these games really matter. So we might have to do this 7 days a week, maybe sometimes, when it all works out here at the Don't Doze Art Lab, home of the West Coast Buy. Speaking of which, if you can hear some music being played in the back, it's because there's a recording session happening as we speak, and I'm not going to let it get in the way. The Canucks first, always here on Locked On Canucks. Usually, I'm joined by who? Trevor Beggs. Not with us, okay? Making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as one of his Super Bowl snacks at the age of 30 and a half years old. He calls it different. I call it Beggsy being Beggsy. Let us know in the comments below. Is peanut butter and jelly sliders an appropriate Super Bowl snack? Anywho, more on the Super Bowl later. I'm going to explain why I hate the Super Bowl, but that's enough with my life. Now let's talk about, again, your life. Your Canucks. They do it. They don't lose 3 straight games, which is something that hasn't happened all season long. This season is weird. And this team is really resilient. And even when they're playing bad, that resiliency is a lot easier to find when you got a guy like Thatcher Demco. Now, man, oh man, I got to be honest. I listened to the second period in my car. I didn't see what Demco did, but I heard what he did. Okay, Brandon Batchelor did an incredible job on the call. And late in the second, this game could have been a lot different. But Demco doing the most, while his team is not sharp. And some people kind of frown on that, right? They'll look at today's game and they'll be a little pessimistic, right? Going into the week, oh my God, the Canucks got to be a lot better. They only won because they got Demco in net today, you know? Blah, blah, blah. Look, Thatcher Demco is part of the recipe. He's part of the equation. It's also just as powerful to feel really good about Demco being that guy on your team for a long time, being that card you can play when you need a dub, for real. Think about April, May, and June. That's a card you want to play. Think about the bubble playoffs. Think about bubble Demco. We keep saying, right, the Canucks, they're cup favorites. They're cup favorites for a lot of reasons. Demco being one of them. And yeah, what he did in the second, he allowed the Canucks ultimately to play their best period. And that was the third period. And now I'll say this also, it wasn't their best period ever. But for most of this game, the Canucks kind of looked like they had their minds set on a Super Bowl party, you know? They couldn't wait to get to the bar, be with the bros, and watch the Super Bowl, right? They didn't seem into the game. They were kind of sloppy again. But Demco does his thing. And the Canucks, again, play a better third. And ultimately get pretty lucky in overtime on that Miller goal. Was that Miller's only shift in overtime? It felt like that. And if it wasn't, it's because, man, oh man, Didn't really see a lot of JT Miller all game. Big reason why is because the power play and the changes. Not with the line combinations, but with the way Tocchet was starting these power plays. PP2 starting on these power plays, sending the message to the top guys, the all-stars, to pick it up. And pick it up ASAP. And this is so interesting, right? Because, again, the Canucks have barely struggled this year. And post All-Star break, 3 games in, the Canucks have played maybe like 3 good periods of hockey, right? And here's Tocchet already pulling the plug on being patient, on being calm, on doing nothing about it, on letting the guys figure it out. He's like, nah, I got to send a message that is not good enough. It makes sense, though, right? We're talking about championships, leaders leading this team, or champions and leaders leading this team. And Tocchet knows. He knows it's a long season, right? He knows that teams are going to go on slumps. Your best guys are not going to be your best guys time in and time out. It happens. They're just human. This all being said, in the playoffs, you can't have that happen. You can't have your star players take 2 games off in a row. No. It's impossible to win if your best guys are not your best guys, game in and game out in the playoffs. Already, man, Tocchet pressing the buttons, trying to get the guys to understand that this is not good enough, okay? Don't have 2 bad games in a row. And if you do, I'm going to send the message. Anywho, let's get to the comments, okay? You and you doing the most for us on Locked On Canucks. We really appreciate the time, man. It's all about the time, dude. F the listens. F the views. It's all about the time. And look at this, okay? Mark. Maybe one of the comments of the year. I feel as if the comments are a little worried about the way that we're playing, right? And Mark replies with, we're just spoiled. 5 out of 8 points used to be good. Used to be good, good enough. It's a lot of things, right? 5 out of 8 points post All-Star break. And I think it's okay to feel both ways, right? You're all right to feel, as if we're in good shape, job well done. Good enough is good enough. And on the other side, you're allowed to feel as if they're leaving a lot on the table or off the table. It's all true. And the most true thing of it all is, again, Tocchet, the decision makers, making sure it's loud and clear that, this is not good enough. That's the attitude, man. That's leadership. Well, what else do we got here on the comments? Mark again, man. No shorthanded goals allowed. Woohoo. What's going on with the starts, though? What's going on with the starts? Another really, really early goal. Think about it. Again, not good enough. Mr. Whale, one of the best to watch the show. Okay, our defense is struggling hard. Our defense our defense also consists of Tyler Myers, Mark Friedman, and I was about to say Noah Juulsen as one of the reasons why our defense is looking the way it's looking. Okay, it's inevitable when you have Mark Friedman and Tyler Myers playing a little bit more than they should. The third period, though, I think they sharpened up the process. It was tilting the other way. And then Miller ends it in overtime off that turnover. Speaking of the defense, speaking of Noah Juulsen, okay, Surrey's own. Surrey's own. I only talk about Archie Baines. Is it confirmed that Noah Juulsen is from Surrey? I think Trevor always says that, and man, oh man, that guy deserves the most West Coast bias. That guy deserves unlimited drinks, unlimited food, or whatever he wants at Tap House whenever he wants. He deserves free tickets to the Guilford movie theaters, okay? Anytime he wants to take his family to Newton Wave Pool, he gets it for free. Give him the key to the city. A guy's an inspiration to the city right now. Think about it. Think about it. Joins a local team. Does his thing last year, right? Plays decent. Leaves an impression. Plays this season. Does his thing. And his thing is the worst. Amongst the worst defensemen in hockey. Yet Tocchet and company and him continue to work. As Susie gets hurt, he continues to play. He continues to struggle. And I don't know how he did it, but he found his way here. He found me here to this place where I'm asking the question, right? Who would I rather keep? Noah Juulsen, Tyler Myers, or Nikita Zadorov? Like, who's the better D-man? And Noah Juulsen hasn't been good for 10 games. He hasn't been good for like 16 games. It feels like he's been good for the betterment of his last 20 games. And not just good, dynamic as a penalty killer, kind of, you know? And today, 5-on-5, the Surrey man, for real. Screw Superman, okay? The Surrey man makes a beautiful play to Garland when the team really needed it. Again, a slow start. The Canucks allowed the first goal right away. Boom, bam. Oh, no. The team also looking forward to going to the bar to watch the Super Bowl. This could have been dangerous. But Juulsen makes a quick play, a transition play, a cerebral play. Gets the puck. Right to Garland. Off a change. And, Garland doing the most. Making up for what? Okay, again, the Canucks have not looked the same since they went to Garland's house to eat clam chowder. Yo, is clam chowder an appropriate Super Bowl appetizer? Like, if you're bringing 4 pounds of clam chowder, is that okay? It would make sense that would be the Super Bowl soup snack, right? Or entree, or whatever, you know? Boston, New England. The new home of the Lombardi Trophy. It seems like that all the time. Or they did their thing, you know? Clam chowder, man. Is that a good Super Bowl snack? I'll talk about my Super Bowl experience in a couple of minutes. Let's get to the comments. I'm not ready yet. We got to run a couple ads before I, get emotional. Let's go to Disturbed, okay? Myers is really soft for such a big guy. I've seen more fight in Garland. I don't know if I agree with that, man. I think Myers has dropped the gloves a couple of times throughout the last 24 months. I think he's laid the body a couple of times. Didn't he get like 5 minutes for doing like a UFC elbow to that Columbus player right before the All-Star? He has some edge to him. But playing too much. This the thing, right? This is why Noah Juulsen's improvement is so important to the ultimate success of this team, right? Because things happen. You need your number 7 D-man to be good. To be plug and play at what? Replacement value. Straight up. You don't want to squeeze the most out of your number 5, 6, 7 D-man. And right now, due to injuries and suspension, Myers is being squeezed a little bit more. Back to the comments, okay? Mr. Whale. Hoglander looks like he's been practicing the backhand, and Disturb replies with Hogs has been playing great. I'm so glad he's not buried on the 4th line anymore. I mean, that could be something, right? Is Nils Hoglander the spark that top 6 needs? That spunk, that funk. That speed, that tenacity, that skill. I still want to see it. I still want to see Elias and Nils Hoglander, the new version of the IKEA line. I think that could be something. And Hoglander, man, 16 goals. When Bachelor made that call, right, on that goal, I was surprised. I thought he had 15 goals. And he scored yesterday, okay? I've been watching games on mute. But you know what I'm saying? I'm still surprised at the fact that this guy is halfway to 30 goals. That's nuts. been bounced around all over the lineup and finding a way to be consistent in different ways, but notably and most importantly, occasionally finding his way in the goal column. And he scored in multiple ways. We all know it. Nils Hoglander, man, a really good player. Really, really good player. I think it's helping him a lot that he's also seen Connor Garland carve out a niche position as a small guy, an important guy on this team. You're a product of your environment. Nils Hoglander, though, I think a better complementary player off the puck when he's really hitting on all cylinders, okay? Because he does everything and he finds holes, and he's really, really skilled. And we talk about him being the potential spark to the top six, the funk. How about more specifically being the spark for Pettersson to be more dynamic 5-on-5? Right? Anywho, more on the game in a couple of minutes. I got to run some ads. One love to the people, Locked On Canucks. One love to the network. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab. Again, supplying the West Coast bias just because you know the deal, man. You got to look after your neighbors. That's just the truth. Speaking of our neighbors, our Canucks, they win. They get the job done. 3-2. Congratulations. Feel good. You're a champion today, okay? Anyways, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks.
You know, we're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data. A matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates later. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employees agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality of matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. You know what I love about Indeed is Indeed, like I said, they're fast, okay? And guess what? When I'm in the bedroom, I'm fast too, eh? I'm going for the new world record. Let's go. Indeed might be a better fast than me, but, you know, with Indeed, you know, listeners of the show, whoa, I lost my point. Oh no, you get Indeed is fast, baby, and you can join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of the show, guess what? You will get a $75 sponsored job credit.
Whoa!
To get more of your job's visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Woo! Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Okay, we back on this episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen here at the Don't Doze Art Lab. Man, listening to some music being made. Living the dream, talking about your Vancouver Canucks and talking to you about that team after a victory, a win. Out of nowhere, I'm not going to lie, I felt as if we were going to lose in the shootout. But there was a lucky bounce that went to the stick of JT Miller in the slot, and he finished it. I said lucky, right? That's a gift from the hockey gods. What if this season is a year full of gifts from the hockey gods? Why not us? Believe it, why not us? First place, resilient. can beat you in many ways, and we said it off the top. That's your Demco. That guy, when he wants to be. Dynamic, wins you games, helps you out. Let's get to the comments, okay? Tour. G Tour. You got to be good to be lucky. I like it. That's the truth. Again, Demco keeps you good, even at your worst. We blessed. G Tour again, back to back. It's hard. It's hard to have your legs. That's the truth, man. I just turned 30 and a half years old. I have one really good workout. A, I feel like I'm a champion, celebrating way too early. And B, more often than not, the next day's a day off. It's tough out here, man. JT Miller, right? He's also 30, probably 30 and a half years old as well. I haven't been that impressed with his game recently. This being said, I don't think he's getting much help on the power play based on the decisions being made on the coaching staff. And I've been very impressed with the coaching staff. I've been understanding or trying to understand all these moves, all these changes, and give them the benefit of the doubt. But I can't really stand for JT Miller being removed from his side on the power play. You know what side I'm talking about, for the sake of a shakeup on PP1. We've said it in the past, okay? He's one of the best players at that position on the power play, right? At the top of the left circle, right next to Quinn Hughes. Those two have, I'm not going to say like a Sedin thing going on, but they're really good, really dynamic. And I understand that maybe with Lindholm coming in and just overall a inconsistent dynamic power play being displayed, it leads to things wanting or needing a change. But you change the other three guys, okay? Besser, Pettersson, and Lindholm. You figure it out. You keep Hughes and Miller at the top. Now, I went as far as saying Team USA, when they got to make those best on best teams, right? You specifically get Miller on the team so he can do that for Hughes for Team America. It's that good. Is the power play really 0 for 9 since all these changes? Is it? Again, PP2. Getting most of the power play minutes in today's game. That's something else, man. That's something else. Only what, 2 games post All-Star break, and Talkit already doing the most, sending the message to the best guys. And we should be happy about that, man. That's a different level of accountability. These guys are learning that this is not good enough. In game 52 and game 53. Not in game what, 87? Not in game 91. You got to learn these lessons now. Unreal. Ernie, how about this? Well, a win is a win. And Casey, man, nice comeback. Again, I feel as if we're being a little spoiled, right? Just a little spoiled. I didn't even bring up the fact that it was somewhat of a comeback. Back to back. It's hard to do that back to back. You got the booking, the Super Bowl booking, the Super Bowl party with the boys happening in a couple hours, okay? In America. That's something else. Yet they got the job done. Nils Hoglander, 16 goals. How about this one? 17 Silla, this comment. Now let's go. As a European fan, I was sweating those last 2 games a lot. You're watching from Europe? You're living the dream. You're living the dream. How about this comment? JD's saying Amon is useless. I don't think so. I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt. I think overall he's been impressive. Not perfect, but impressive. Speaking of impressive, Sam Lafferty, for the most part, impressive, but back-to-back games, he's the healthy scratch. It makes you think about a lot of things, and I'm getting dark now, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna have to say it. And this is not because PDG is playing way better than Mikheyev, because that's not the case. But if we're seeing Tocchet constantly send messages to his best players, I would not be surprised to see Mikheyev be a healthy scratch for Sam Lafferty. That's something else. Lefty, Nils Amon, fan. Okay, maybe Nils Amon's brother or sister. Okay, look at this. Amon isn't useless. Fourth line, 9-minute player. What do you expect? Also, just a guy who's getting better on the penalty kill. You know, the penalty kill is turning a corner, right? It's been a lot better than it was 12 months ago. It's been a lot better than it was in November. Amon, a part of that. Joshua, a part of that. Juulsen, a part of that. Hockey gods, man, doing a lot. Doing a lot for the Vancouver Canucks, man. How about Disturbed, man? I've watched a lot of Abbotsford games. Baines is a strong skater and has an underrated shot. His passing game is good as well. I think he also commented early, demanding that Baines gets called up ASAP. Yo, could it happen? Could it happen? I don't know. You look at that 9-game homestand, right? Could it happen then? That would be something, man. What spots are available on this team? Like, what do you? What type of identity do you think certain spots and certain areas on this team needs for even more decisions when it comes to the player personnel to happen, right? Because don't you think over the last 12 months the Canucks have already added so much NHL talent, and now we're in first place? And is there still the need for some change? Speaking of change, Mr. Whale, Lindholm should center Hoagie. Is it Hockey? Hoglander and Suter. Thus bringing the Lotto line back together. I think based on what we saw with that goal Hoglander scored today, I think we're going to see that combination of Pettersson and Hoglander much longer. I believe that line 5-on-5 has been on the ice for 3 goals, 4 over the last 2 games as well. You know what I'm saying? They're going to stick around, especially again, Pettersson and Hoglander. And on that note, like, I feel as if I constantly never say anything about Pius Suter. Again, we're privileged, man. This guy's playing so clean, so good, so efficient, doing his thing. Brett, it would be exciting to see Hoglander with both Elias. Thanks for the comments. Or Elias and Elias. Yeah, I want to see that too. I think it will work. I also am I'm just like in dire need of Pettersson finding some 5-on-5 chemistry with Elias. I don't know why. It's what I already envisioned. Maybe I also envision Pettersson constantly being on the best line in hockey, 5-on-5. Brandon, I think he agrees because he just commented we got to get back to being the highest scoring team. Ebbs and flows, man. Ebbs and flows. We're finding different ways to win. I'm not going to complain. Also confident that when the Canucks want to turn it on, they can turn it on. We've seen that just prior to the All-Star break as well, you know? Those third periods were impressive. Now, the Canucks haven't been as consistently dynamic since early on that Eastern road trip, right? That's the obvious. And that was sexy. That was nice to look at. That's desirable. I get the need for that and the want for that. But I wouldn't dwell too much if we're not getting that right now, because this team is showing you that it also has that playoff type recipe for success as well. Making me excited. I'm here for the Dubs, man. Okay, it's all about the championship, man. It really is. It's all about the Canucks too. It's all about the Green Bay Packers as well. Okay, so I might as well end it on this note. I've been invited to more Super Bowl parties this year than ever. In fact, I don't even know a lot of these friends watch football. I guess this is what you call the Taylor Swift effect or the Usher effect. Think about it. That's huge. It's a lot of talent. It's a lot of legacy in the world of music. A lot of impact. Anyways, been invited to the most Super Bowl parties ever, and I'm denying all of them. All of them. Why? Because I'm loyal. I'm loyal. Too loyal. Some would argue. But I'm a Packers fan. I'm not spending money and 4 hours to watch another team celebrate. To switch it back over to us, I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan. Only a Vancouver Canucks fan in the world at the NHL. That matters. It only matters. This may have me look like what? Not the biggest sports fan ever. Which to me is okay. Because I'm the biggest Canucks fan ever. You know, I'm the biggest Packers fan ever. I'm loyal. That's good enough. Can't do it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm excited to be undefeated starting tomorrow with those same Green Bay Packers, okay? And also, this being said, if you're watching the Super Bowl today and you don't think like that, and you're somebody who takes life less serious because you're smart and wise and fun, good for you. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy responsibly. Win some money. Get drunk. Eat some food. Eat some food. Good food. What did Trevor say again? He was also making, on top of the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or Super Bowl snacks, also bacon, pickles wrapped in bacon or something. Bagsy, man, something else. Anyways, that's it. That's it. Enough football talk, as Mr. Whale is alluding to. NHL is way better than football. I'm agreeing with that, okay? It's another type of sport. The NHL's messed up. It's like WWE, UFC, and hockey. Like, what is it? Exactly, you know? There's nothing like it. One love. Thank you for everyone listening and watching the program. My name is Kyle Bowen, KYLEBHAWAN. That was another episode of Locked On Canucks. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network. And as always, Don't Doze Art Lab for only providing the West Coast bias. It really is all about your neighbors. One love to the Canucks fans. Still in first place. Can someone do the math for me? Is that the case? We want the cup. We're probably going to get it. Go Canucks, go. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team